Welcome to my kitchen, the commodity kitchen, where we ask concerning questions like, what would you rather lose? Coffee or chocolate? Maybe both? I'm a chef, you're a chef, we're all chefs in the kitchen, so let's just get started cooking already. Already to top it off, we've got the beverage that people love to drink in the morning that gets them up, gets them through those tough times when it itself is going through a tough time. We've got coffee. Coffee, come to the stage. Come to the stage right here. I bet you're very glad to be here. Well, actually not really, because we've got some news concerning you that is quite concerning to say the least. And I'm sure you're going to want to hear it, so here it is. We've got this article right here, which is saying that from the start of the year, coffee prices have been rising at an alarming rate, increasing by over 30% in these last 3 months alone. Coffee is making the records just rising high, and you're about to hear the main reason why. This commodities price has been on a very, very high increasing trend for an extended period of time, and it's been rising by a staggering 62.96% since November of last year. The rise in these prices has caused a increase, and get this is a complete chain reaction, in the cost of products that use coffee. And coffee chains and producers are having to pass along the rising price on to customers. So they're looking to the side, they're seeing,
this costs a lot. What are we going to do to make a profit? Whoa, what else can we do? We got to raise the prices, raise the prices so we can actually make a profit and keep our business flowing. So customer, here we go. Here's the cost.
There you go. Cost is on you. So, either you pay it or you don't, but we got to keep on going somehow. Now, I'm sure you're going to wonder, what exactly is the reason coffee is going up? I don't want to be having to think about super high prices just when I want to get the grind going. Well, you see, its primary factor is supply concerns. Very big supply concerns in the key coffee producing nations, Brazil and Vietnam. And both of these together account for 55% and 50% of global coffee production. So this is the home of coffee. These are coffee's parents, and when the parents are having trouble, that means that the children are having trouble too. And so in Brazil's Minas Gerais region, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly or not, but I will be putting the words right there. It accounts for 30% of the country's Arabica crop, and as of April of this year, the region has received no rainfall and seems like it's going to be going through a dry period. And of course, this is going to be affecting that commodity a lot, because one of the major things that affects coffee, as most crop commodities, is weather conditions. If weather conditions aren't going to be good, then it's going to be affecting the commodity that's supposed to be growing in those conditions. In Vietnam, which is the largest producer of Robusta coffee beans, there is a drought condition that could potentially lead to a 20% drop in the production of coffee there. And if they're one of the major producers and they're having to go through this drop, then of course, what's that going to do to the price? Well, less coffee equals higher price, so that they can make money. And of course, these conditions are going to have people who are going to want to jump in on it, people who are concerned, people who expected it, and people who are just trying to get by and ride on the results. The whole result wave, And this is important to keep in mind. In the last quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year, there were already low amounts of it due to, again, supply issues. So that already kind of put the pressure on the price already, which you would be noticing if you were a coffee enthusiast. But it's also important to mention that, at least according to this article, major investors who invest in coffee also tend to invest in chocolate as well. So you're gonna have to keep that in mind because that's gonna have a major role, which you'll soon hear about because I'm gonna be getting right to that. So with these higher prices, investors in coffee are really having to gulp in, just take a look at the price and then do a double take and then really look at it and ask themselves, I mean, with these prices, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get in on that. The prices are just so high, you know. I don't think I could take such a chance. But of course, with coffee, there's not even just the supply that you have to worry about or even the weather conditions. There have been port congestions, shipping delays, geopolitical unrest, oh my, that are further aggregating those concerns on top of the supply. And there's even this ongoing apprehension about the dryness in Brazil and Southeast Asia, which is making investors and traders want to go more with short term than long term because they're not really looking too keenly at what's going on. Alright, so that's coffee news, but in this next article that we also have, it's also talking about coffee and chocolate and how both of these two things are really influencing each other. It's almost like a magnetic field. They're both exerting their force on each other, and it's really just like both of them are getting affected, but which one's really getting more affected by the other? So with chocolate, aka cocoa and coffee, both of them have been going through supply shortages and extreme weather that are really testing the limits that traders are having. Just like coffee, chocolate is also facing severe shortages. And investors, like I was saying before, investors don't just invest in coffee, they're also investing in cocoa as well. So with both of them having these shortages, it's making investors think I can't do both, so I gotta choose which one. It's just like the question I asked you before. Which one would you rather lose? The chocolate or the coffee? You can only choose one. And investors are having to make these decisions and think to themselves, which one do I want to rather invest in? Because both these prices are just soaring up and soaring high. Although in the article it's saying that cocoa's latest impacts on coffee may end up being limited because with cocoa, oh, I'm sorry, did I say cocoa? I meant with coffee. With coffee, there's Arabica and Robusta, so there's at least two. So when something happens to one, you can always go to the second one. But with chocolate, chocolate's just chocolate, you know? So they can't really do much. Cocoa prices have more than doubled this year to a record last month. So as you can see, both coffee and cocoa are really going through the ringer, but especially chocolate, unfortunately. You like chocolate? Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, what kind of chocolate do you like? As long as dark chocolate isn't too bitter, I don't mind the different kinds of chocolate. I like it when chocolate's mixed with caramel. That tastes good. So cocoa's two biggest producers, West Africa's Ghana and Ivory Coast's, are both experiencing issues, and these production shortfalls are causing unprecedented volatility and record high prices. Now, with cocoa, at least, coffee growers are replacing the old plants with new ones, and they're taking action against the diseases, and there's a greater incentive for farmers because they can invest in this coffee while it's a lot higher. And so producers can benefit from this great rise in market prices, and why wouldn't they if they have the opportunity to? However, with chocolate, prices in the Ivory Coast and Ghana are fixed by the government. So even though it's getting all this attention because there's a shortage of supply, unfortunately they're not really able to take advantage of that. So there is that for farmers. But you know, both are really going through a lot of things. Although with coffee, it might be a lot less of an impact because again, there's Arabica and Robusta. So while it will be impacted, it might not be as impacted as chocolate. You got two options, so you got two options to use. When one's going through issues, you can always turn to the other. But if there's only just one, like coffee, it might not be the best situation. So things might get a little hairy for chocolate, but who knows? You never really know. As you could probably see from the top of this video, I'm not a financial advisor in any way. I'm a commodity enthusiast. I find it very fascinating to do research on these kind of things and to learn a lot more interesting news that I'd never known before. And maybe you're into that too. So if that's the case, join us at a seat at the table, sit down, come, eat our meals of news. We've got tons of things for you to listen to. Actually, maybe not too much, but we've got some stuff and we're gonna keep on growing. So with that, thank you for just learning with me and having a lot of food for thought. And with that, I will see you in the kitchen sometime next time.